Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Closing Comments here on September 10th. Let's jump right into these charts and see what happened in the markets today. For starters, we got our October live cattle on the board. We did see good supportive action today across the cattle market after yesterday's big sell-off, which is a good sign showing the bulls are alive and well, looking to jump in here and start to support this thing. We did see this morning we got a gap lower open with price on this October contract opening up right around the 229 mark. However, we didn't get any follow-through selling from there. This thing immediately broke up off that opening range and spent the rest of the day kind of trading around the low end of yesterday's range. At the moment, we do have a pretty equal distribution here between about this 232.5 and 230 mark, showing a pretty wide zone here that we're trading around and trying to support this market at. At the moment, there's no real hard edges or clean lines to trade around at the moment. Looking like this market could spend a little bit more time dancing around here, maybe even testing some of these lows, but hanging around this 230 mark here. Not really anticipating a real snapback rally yet. However, price doesn't lie, so if we get nice bids above 232.5 tomorrow, we could see this thing try and make another run back up here towards this 235 mark. However, in the meantime, with how the sell-off has came to us over the last week or 6 days here, would expect to see this market continue to balance out here a little bit. We do need to digest some of this sell-off that we saw yesterday still, and just with how today's action unfolded, just doesn't look super structured yet. Going to need to see this thing kind of balance out for a little bit longer, trade sideways, maybe even test some of these lows once again. But at the moment, showing good support right around this 230 mark, but the bulls are going to need to clean this thing up and draw some hard lines that we can trade around before we start getting involved. This dip is still expected to be a good buying opportunity, but still just wanting to continue to slow play this thing as we still may need to digest some of this recent volatility, trade sideways a little bit, and offer a little bit risk point to trade around going forward. So at the moment, we still expect to see this market continue higher into the fall. We do expect to see support step in here. However, today's action was just a little bit sloppy, and we just want to see a little bit more cleaner action to draw a hard line around before we start getting involved to the long side and see this market start to climb back. Like I said, though, we do expect to see the dips get bought up here, and we will continue to monitor these cattle markets for good dip buying opportunities throughout the week. Feeder market also seeing a nice gap down here today, but this market staying supported here right around the 350 mark. We did see this market open up the day right around the 347 level, snapping right back though, pushing up here into yesterday's range and trading right around 350. Offering good support, still pretty wide loose range here at the moment. We did see this market trading a $6 range today, so we are still trading a little bit sloppy. Nothing super structured, pretty equal distribution around this 352.5 down here to 348 mark. So no real clean edges here at the moment, but a good supportive action here, looking like the bulls are still alive. The fact that we didn't just continue to follow through on this big gap down, or excuse me, limit down day we saw yesterday, and there was no follow through on the gap down here this morning. Good sign the bulls are looking to keep this market propped up. We do expect to see this dip be bought up here in the long term, and these prices to continue climbing here into the fall. However, over the next couple days, look for this market to continue balancing out, trading sideways. We could see some wide ranges and some retests of some of these lows to make sure that these are some good levels to trade around. But we do want to see a good hard line to be drawn over here, and before we start getting involved and see that bullish momentum start to kick in and see this market climb out of here. But we should see a good dip buying opportunity over the next week or so here. Stay tuned here as we'll be monitoring the situation and continue to watch this market as it starts to try and make a reversal attempt here, and as we anticipate it to head back towards those all-time highs as we head into the fall here. So we'll be keeping an eye on that one throughout the rest of the week. This corn market did feel a little bit heavy today, just pushing down here towards our bear pivot, but no real downside besides just a few cents here. This market closed the day right on this 50-day moving average, but we're still contained in this 415 to 425 range. And at the moment, price is looking a little heavy with how it's kind of rolling over here the last 7 days or so. But this market will still continue to chop around here as we're waiting the big news event that will be coming out with that WASD report on Friday. So place your bets, but no need to be getting too heavily involved here. We want to wait and see how that WASD report is taken by this market here at the end of the week, and that should give us a good directional cue for the next leg out of this area. So I just urge everyone to continue to remain patient over in that corn market, and the cattle markets, as we want to wait and see for further confirmation before we get too committed to a side in this environment right now. Crude oil prices seen a little bit of a rally here today, pushing up here and closing the day right around this 20-day moving average. Really not a whole lot of excitement in this oil market. Just expect to see continued back and forth action here in the low to mid 60s. Nothing really convincing here at the moment. I do expect to see the bears step in and offer some resistance up here in the 64 to 65 mark if we start to get up into this area. But in the meantime, just expect some nice low volatility, small ranges, and continued choppy action in this oil market. Equity markets today, we did see a nice little pop off of the inflation numbers being released before the bell this morning. However, a pretty mixed day. Most of the action coming in intraday selling off. Most of that upside was contained to that opening range and that CPI report that was released early today. But other than that, pretty much mostly a down day, pushing back off of these all-time highs that printed early. At the moment, this market just not really, we're sniffing out these all-time highs on the S&P and the Dow indexes, but the Nasdaq still lagging a little bit here. Nothing looks super convincing at the moment. We could see just a nice choppy action continue here for a little bit, but at the moment, the big picture uptrend still remains intact, and we do expect to see higher prices into the end of the year. But just look for this market to handle tomorrow's inflation report as well, and we'll have to wait and see how the market reacts to that. But that should give us a little bit more clues into how the next couple of weeks are going to roll around here. Tomorrow's action with the inflation report coming out, have to wait and see wait and see how the market responds to that. And if the market is able to rally through that and continue pushing higher, we may see this thing just start to climb sooner than later. But in the meantime, still just kind of slow playing this thing, and want to see how this month of September plays out for us as we're trying to digest this big range we've been trading in for about the last month or two here. So stay invested. No need to get too nervous around here at the moment with the market trading just off of these all-time highs, but just still want to be warning everyone about some potential weakness seasonally and a little bit of volatility that could still be lingering here throughout this month of September. But in the meantime, everything's still looking good and staying up here near these all-time highs. So market remains healthy and strong. No need to get too jumpy or no need to be worried about any major crashes. So everything's looking good here in the equity markets. And that's all we got for tonight. We'll see you tomorrow for closing comments.